Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great. And in today's video we are going to be looking at a very exciting feature that was introduced in SwiftUI 3.0 and that's called Refreshable. So at WWDC 2021, Apple introduced many new features for SwiftUI 3, and with these new additions came out one of the most sought out feature for the list, and it was in the form of Refreshable. So Refreshable came out as a modifier that actually brought pull to refresh functionality to SwiftUI. So no more UI kit bridging if you are supporting iOS 15 and plus for your project. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what Refreshable is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly create a list because it's actually something that you can apply on the list. So I'm going to go into the definition just to take a look what it is. Okay, so there we go. Let me close this. All right, so this is Refreshable. All right, and first of all, it's only available iOS 15 and plus. So if you're targeting your app to basically be iOS 15 and plus, in that case this is for you. And basically Refreshable comes as a modifier that takes an escaping closure which is of type @sendable. It once again follows the pattern that SwiftUI and iOS 15 came out with, async await, which is I think a more modern way of making asynchronous calls. So no more hopping around with closures and stuff, but more on that later. So this is the signature that you have for Refreshable. And what this does is basically it's gonna let you refresh your list with newly updated content. So once again, it's applied on the list as we can see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put together some sort of example that we can actually look at in a more practical sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. So I'm going to create a state variable, and I'm just going to call this random data. Okay, this is just going to be an array with range 0 to less than 5. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to come back and update this array in a little bit. And I'm going to take this list, put it inside a navigation view because I want to have a navigation title for this guy. Let's put the list back in here. Navigation title Refreshable. There we go. Okay, so in the list what we want to do is we want to have a for each. This for each is going to go iterate over some data, that's our random data, and it's going to identify this data by using self as an ID because this is integer, so that's hashable. It should all be fine for each to identify each item individually. Okay, that's gonna give us access to index, and we're gonna take that index and we will display that inside this by saying item number IDX. So item number ID, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this as is for now. Okay, I just want to show you what we have. And if you notice, we have the, just by adding this Refreshable thing, right? So if I take this out and if I run this once again, if I pull down the list, there is no pull to refresh. If I just do Control Z and go ahead and rerun, I'm gonna have pull to refresh like that. But right now it's not doing anything. We are not performing any operation here. So let's go ahead and put some operation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a private function, give me more. Okay, All right, and this is gonna be an async call, so I'm gonna decorate it with async, and we're gonna put a delay of 2 seconds, and we're gonna put a wait on that. So I'm gonna say task dot sleep 2 times, so 2 seconds, and 1 second is represented in nanoseconds, so I'm gonna use that. So 1 underscore, which you can use for representation, but 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. There we go. So that's 1 second times 2 is 2 seconds of sleep, and I'm gonna say random data dot append int dot random in range 10 to 1000, like that. Okay, and I'm gonna basically await on this give me more function. All right, with that change, let me go ahead and rerun, and I'm gonna just pull to refresh, and as you saw, we waited 2 seconds, and then after 2 seconds we added a new element right at the bottom. So if we keep on doing that, we're gonna add items in our list. All right, so in the example, we saw that we were using async await strategy to request more data, and there's a sleep of 2 seconds that was added to mimic the network delays. Okay, but what if you have API calls, right? I mean, in more ideal or real life scenarios, you're gonna have basically API calls that are being made, and these API calls are the one who are gonna that are gonna get delayed, and you're gonna see the spinner for those. So let's go ahead and create an example, or like modify this example to follow that pattern. Okay. All right, so before we do that, before we make a network call, we need a place where we can call the service, like, some sort of API, right? So for demo purposes, the best way I can think of is like, using HTTP bin, and HTTP bin has this amazing thing. It's called delay. So basically this API, I mean, it's actually, first of all, HTTP bin itself is really amazing to test your API calls. If you have like, simple request response kind of testing that you need to do, mock the calls, you can actually do that. If we are going to use its delay endpoint, and delay endpoint basically just does as it says. What it does is like, you just call http bin.org/delay, and he gives like, the number of seconds that you want to delay before this API actually returns the response. Okay, so we're gonna leverage the fact that like, we are actually calling a slow API with 5 seconds of delay, and then once we get the response back, we're gonna basically update our model to show that new information. Okay, so what we're gonna do in our give me more, I want to delete this fictitious sleep. We're gonna make an actual API call. So I'm gonna say we're not gonna do anything with the results that we're gonna get, so that's why I'm using underscore. So underscore equal try await. Okay, and I'm gonna use URL session and shared session, basically data. Let's use from that takes a URL. Okay, the session delegate, session task delegate is optional, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm simply gonna remove that guy from here, and we're gonna simply say URL string, and the string is going to be https://http bin.org/delay/number of seconds you want to delay. So this time we're gonna say like, it's 5 seconds. Let's wait for 5 seconds before appending that random element into random data model. Okay, so let's go with this change, and let's go ahead and run this. So I'm going to run it, and there we go. We have our refreshable, and I'm going to pull to refresh. It's going to make an API call, and once the API call is like, returned, basically after 5 seconds, the new element is gonna be added. So let's go ahead and try it one more time. There you go. So yeah, so this was a quick example. I wanted to put it together for Refreshable. Definitely in upcoming videos, we're going to be using these in more projects and like, more scenarios, so you can see like, how you can apply those. But yeah, SwiftUI 3.0 already rocking with these amazing changes. So stay tuned for more similar feature updates on SwiftUI 3.0, and like and subscribe. Thank you so much.